Today, we're going to look at a policy that's been around for almost 14 years now, an IUL, an Index Universal Life Laser Fund, because a lot of times clients ask and people ask, hey, I want to see a policy that's been around for years. What does it look like now? Can you show me a client that's been taking loans from a policy and to see like what are the fees and expenses? Because I've heard that these things are expensive when you get older. So let's take a look at a statement and look at where a policy sits that's about almost 14 years into it and a client that is taking loans from the policy. Hi, I'm Aaron Andrew. Let's take a look at this policy now and see where it's at and where it's been through the years. So first of all, this client, you can see they opened up their policy back in December of 2012. And as you look at this statement, this statement is as of the end of last year. We're right now at the time of this recording about in the summer, late summer of 2025. So looking at this statement, we're going to look at where this client is because we have questions about, we want to see a policy that someone's taking loans. So this client opened this policy out back about 13, 14 years ago, 70 years old, all right, preferred non-tobacco. So this client was, at an older age when they started the policy. So don't think you're too old, being able to open one of these. So this client has now got $744,000 is what they had in the policy at the end of the previous year. So about a year and a half ago, they had $744,000 in the policy. And this year, you can see, as we zoom in here a little bit, you can see that the policy has had interest of $71,000. By the way, this client has not paid since the first 5 years of the contract. So the client paid money into the policy for the first 5 years. Now, this last year, we earned about $71,000 of interest. So again, with IUL, you have guarantees you can't lose, but you can earn up to a cap, or some of them have no cap as far as the returns, but we can average 6 to 10. Some of you can even average higher with multipliers. This policy is a conservative one that's earned good returns through the years. Let's see what his returns were. So I'm going to skip forward and go to the next page, and let's just take a look at where that $71,000 came from on his $744,000 of cash value. So going to the next page, you can see all the different index accounts he could have chosen from. All right, so he was in this one, the S&P 500, that had a 9.5% cap. Over that 1 year period of time, the S&P went up above 9.5, so they got the cap of 9.5, so we got $14,000 of interest there. All right. Then we had a chunk of money, 20% in the NASDAQ monthly sum. This one did 21% that year. This is a more aggressive strategy. If the market goes up a lot over a year, the monthly sum strategies can capture a lot more gains. So that one earned 21%. We weren't in the S&P monthly sum up here. That one did 21. He wasn't in that one this last year at the top there. Then he also had the NASDAQ with a annual point-to-point with a cap, and that one earned 8.5. So we had some money that earned 9.5, 21, 8.5. And also down here, this one, we had a little bit of money in this Bloomberg account that didn't do well. These volatility-control accounts did not do as well that past year. So that one earned 0. But the other volatility-control account they have, the PIMCO ER, that one earned 8.9%. Okay, so we had some money in there. Then we also have some money in the fixed account. So the fixed account's earning 4.6 that past year. So we had some money earn 4.6, the fixed rate. It's like a CD rate, kind of like a thing, money market or CD rate. 8.9 on the index accounts, 0 in this one, 8.5, 21, 9.5, and those rates right there. So that's kind of why he earned roughly about 10% on average with the 0 on one of them and the other accounts and the lower fixed rate. You can see his interest was about $71,000 on 744. That's just about, almost 10%. Return that year on his indexed policy. Now, again, no money's gone into this policy since the 6th year of the policy. We're now in the 13th year, almost in the 14th year of the contract. Okay, now let's look at the fees here. Now our fees, this client is now, they opened it at 70. Okay, we're now like 83, 84 now. So this client's about 84 years old now in this policy. And so a lot of people would think, okay, that's, he's getting up there in age. This policy should be pretty expensive. Well, the policy only costs us $1,000 and then the $90, expense charge. So the policy honestly was very low cost. If you were in a managed account, just to say 1%, you got 800 grand in there. If you had $800,000, because that's where it's at now after the interest and after the fees came out. If you had a 1% management fee, that'd be about $8,000, $8,100. We're paying $1,000. So we're paying $1,000 and we have guarantees of zero's the hero, you can't lose. So if the market were to crash this next year, this client would not lose any of that $71,000 they earned because your gains are locked in every year. So we earned $71,000. Our fees were $1,000 and the $90, so just over, about $1,100 about in fees, and our account is worth $815. Now, this client has been taking loans now for a couple of years, so he's taking out occasional money here and there. So you can see his policy loan balance is now up at $47,000. So now he's got a loan balance of $47,000. So he's got net cash value, net of the loans, of $762,000 because, again, he's got that debt against the policy. Now, why take loans? Sometimes people think loans are bad, I got to pay interest. No, loans are a good thing. Loans are how you get your money out tax-free out of an insurance contract. So how you get money out is the money grows tax deferred. You can get it out tax-free by taking loans, and when you die, it's going to transfer tax-free in a death benefit. That's the whole purpose of, the whole reason of doing a lot of these policies is those wonderful features of IUL. But the client has two loan options. The client can either borrow at what's called a fixed loan or zero wash loan or standard loan. They all call it something different. But in this policy, you'd be borrowing around 2% interest, all right, if you took that loan. So you borrow at 2%, you don't pay the loan interest. The loan interest just compounds on the loan balance. You could pay it, but you don't have to. So if you took out $100,000, be charged 2%, that's going to be $2,000. Well, out of the $815,000 that is collateral for the loan, okay, if you borrowed $100,000, $100,000 of that would be set aside, would not be earning the 10% we just earned this last year. It would be earning a guaranteed rate of 2%. So be earning 2%. This loan down here, if we took out a $100,000 loan, would be charged 2%. That's called a zero wash loan. So you borrow at 2%, you earn 2%. It's a conservative, what we call zero wash. Again, on the Laser Fund book. All right, if you got a copy of our book, get a copy, laserfund.com. But in chapter 8, I explain this quite a bit. My dad and I, my brother that wrote this book together, we explain in chapter 8 the sad way, the smart way, and the dumb way to get your money out of an IUL policy. So we talk about those loans. We talk about these two different type of loans in detail, okay? But that loan option, or the client can borrow at 5%. So if you want, you can borrow at 5%. You say, why would you borrow at 5% when you can borrow at 2%? Well, when you borrow at 5%, what you do is you let the $100,000 that is collateral for the loan, $100,000 of your $800,000, that money that is collateral for the loan stays inside the index accounts. And we could continue to earn this, 21, the 6.5, the 7, the 21, the 8.5, whatever these returns are, whatever accounts you're in, those are the returns you would earn on the index accounts, and then your loan is being charged 5%. So on average, we've been earning higher than the 5% charge rate, of course. So you borrow at 5%, and we're going to earn 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% on the policy, and you're going to earn that spread or arbitrage. So this last year, they earned about 10%, borrowed against it at 5%. If they took that loan, they earned an extra 5% spread. Pretty cool. All right, but some years, like this other index account down here, earned 0. If all of them earned 0, if we had a big crash in the market, that's fine. Your account value stays at 0. Your loan balance went up by 5. Other years, it'll make up for it with the returns in the index accounts. So again, you have both loan options. You choose which loan option you take, zero wash loan, or what we call an alternative or index loan. Read about that again in chapter 8 of the Laser Fund to learn more about it, okay? So those are the returns. Let's look at his death benefit here for a minute. So first of all, looking at this, I think we went over all this. So again, his fees, you guys, are so cheap. $1,000 where a managed account would be $8,000. Plus, in the stock market, if you earned $71,000, you'd pay taxes on that too. So not only is this tax-free, the cost is very low, even though he's 83, 84 years old now, in his 80s. But why is the cost so cheap? All right, let's look down here and look at his death benefit. So if we scroll down here, you're going to see his death benefit here is $855,000, okay? So his death benefit is $855,000, and remember, you scroll back up, so 855, go back up, okay? And his cash value is 815. Now, to get real detailed, so his death benefit's 855, and his cash value is 815. That's before the loan balance, though. So the difference between those, of course, you guys, is 40,000. But I was going to show you that, net of his loans, so his death benefit also is going to be a little bit lower by the loan balance, of course. Okay, but right now we've got $40,000 of insurance is all we really have. So if he passes away, his cash value, blossoms Now again, minus the loan if you want to get technical, he's got 762, all right, net of the loans, but use the 815 first. He's got 815. If he dies, his family would get 855, okay, minus the loan balance of 47,000, okay, so just over $800,000 would be the net that his family gets, okay, tax-free, okay? Now, we're only paying for 40 grand of insurance. That's why the fees are so low, what I was trying to get to. We're only paying $1,000 in fees because the net amount at risk is very low. His 800 grand is his own money. The death benefit's only a little bit higher than that. We want it that way to have the low fees and expenses. So this is how you design an IUL correctly, where you maximum fund the policy, get the death benefit as low as you can, as close to the cash value as you can, and that's where the fees and expenses are super low. And this is an efficient, well-designed IUL policy that is about in its 14th year, doing very well, someone in their 80s. This is amazing when you really see how it works correctly, where even at these ages where it's like, oh, insurance should be so expensive. No, it's not when you design it correctly and fund the policy properly. So thanks for watching, and make sure you watch our other videos on does IUL work to see also in-force illustrations. I think I'll do another video on this one, and I'll show an in-force illustration of projecting it forward so we can see not just the statement in real time, what it looks like, but a projection of what it could look like going forward as well. Because this one, you can see how well it's working, where we only have 1,000 going out in fees, and we're taking out money each year. So the client's been taking out, I think, this might be the couple of years now he's taking out loans. So he's taking out in different amounts each year, just depending on what he wants. That's what's nice. He can take out more, he can take out less, and guess what he can do too? He can pay back the loan. He can put money back in, he can pay back the loan and replenish the money in the policy if he wants to. So thanks for watching, and watch the other videos, and look forward for another one after this video for an in-force illustration on this same policy. Thanks for watching.